We shall see, we shall see. Hey, Michael, we'll see if it works this time. I figure we'd just cancel it out and start right over fresh, you know?
lot of people watching. What is up? What's up, Haley? Yeah, it's a Sandoflex. Sandoflex.
No, actually, I'm sorry. That one's the Woodwhacker. Chris Wood out of the UK makes these. And this is a Woodwhacker. Chris Wood is a renowned chainsaw carver himself, so nope, whack. Whacker. Wood whacker. Whacker. Woodwhacker. Wood. W-A-C-K-E-R. Whacker. Yep. They might be on eBay. Might be able to find them on eBay. But they come from the UK, and he makes a bunch, and they sell out pretty darn quick. I got lucky. I think it was Nigel sent me one. So, yes, maybe you could get these a little bit better. And honestly, with the Sandoflex, they want you to use their refills. With the Woodwhacker, you can just buy 1-inch wide sandpaper, paperback sandpaper, and just cut it to length and put it in there, and you don't have to buy specific refills. So that's pretty nice. Alan, what's going on? Alan in the UK. I'm in upstate New York. Where are you guys from? Where are y'all from? you guys are here hanging out, watching me carve up some little moose, tap that screen, hit subscribe, hit the bell, hit all, and come on back to the live and hang out. Plus, feel free, drop a comment. Where are you from and what's the temperature, huh? Your comments help drive the live, help this grow, and I appreciate it. I'm in upstate New York. We are about 72, it looks like, today. And hopefully it won't get too much hotter than that. Mooses on the looses, you know what I'm saying? Carlos, what's up? Elior, what's up? Karen, how you doing? 127 watching, 9 thumbs up. Listen, if it's your first time here, guys, hit subscribe. Come on back. Give this video a like. All you got to do is double tap that screen for me if you haven't already. And comment, where you guys from? It's cool to see where everybody's located that's watching. I'm in upstate New York. We're about 72 degrees or so today. Let me know where you're from and what's the temperature. It's always cool to see. We get people from all over the world on the same live, and it's pretty awesome. Alan was on here. Alan's in the UK. Working on moose.
going on? What's going on, guys? 117 watching. Help me out. Tap that screen. Little mooses. Woo. Church bells.
So, my carvers and everybody that likes working on stuff, check out my shopping bag. You want some focus? Right here. I like these vitamin D3 and K2 Neural Mints. This is the Neural Gum. Not only a little energy boost in the afternoon without the shakes and the jitters, helps hone in and focus what you're doing, especially when you're working on detailed projects. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Good stuff. Now, I'm drinking water too. I'm not mixing that with coffee. I just saw a clip last night of that the Neural brand, being on Shark Tank. And, no worries, Michael. And Shark Tank offered them like millions and they turned it down. And then Joe Rogan shared it, and those guys are huge now. What's going on, everybody? 106 people watching. 10 thumbs up. Come on, don't be a slacker. Tap that screen. Give me a thumbs up on this live. And drop a comment. Where are you from? What's the temperature, guys? It's cool to see where everybody's located. It's tough, though. Not everybody plays along. Come on now. I'm in upstate New York. It's around 72 degrees today. It is beautiful out. Beautiful, beautiful. Getting ready. Going to do a little event on Saturday in Speculator, New York. They're having the Bear and Wine Festival. So we're going to bring some pumpkins, some bears, some moose, some little pieces out there to try and sell. And we may put some pumpkins and some candy corn men and some other stuff on the Shopify store. So those things will be available here through YouTube once they're done after that event. Just figuring out the price, you know, it's always a tough thing. It's figuring out the price so shipping can be included. What's up, Ryan Stone? Mike is making stuff. What's up, what's up? Had some stuff going on, huh? 55% improvement in range of motion. That sounds pretty good. What's going on, everybody? 119 watching with 13 thumbs up. All you gotta do is double tap that screen, and before you go, hit subscribe for me. Trying to get back in the groove of being live more often. And it's always good to see that growth. Listen, you guys can help me grow this live. All you gotta do is comment where you're from. Join in with conversation with everybody that's already on here. It's always cool to see where viewers are from, even if you're local or maybe you're out of the country. It's pretty awesome. We've had people from all over the world comment. I don't know. I always think that like what the temperature is, you know. I'm in upstate New York. We're around 70 today. Beautiful out. Beautiful out. We gotta finish up this moose, and then we got one more moose to carve. And I got 2 blocks for welcome bearers. We're gonna get those knocked out on the live as well, as long as nothing crazy happens. And then we may move into, we'll see what time it is, we'll see what's going on. We may move into pumpkin men and ghosts. So, just banging stuff out. We're not gonna burn, we're not gonna do all that. 79 in North Carolina, that's not too bad. Right now we're getting blocking and detail done, and then we'll see where we're at later. Maybe we'll do the burning and stuff. We're just kind of getting everything to this point. 87 in North Alabama. No, thank you. We're heading into like fall weather here in upstate New York, and I love it. I love it. I am not a big fan of hot weather, so I will take the fall weather all day. Take the fall all day long. $87 is still too hot for me. Ugh. Ugh. I forgot the splitters. There we go.
Ugh. I like my 70. I like my 70 degrees. Tell ya, the world is getting crazier and crazier these days. Nuts out there. '80s. No worries, Rhinestone. 50 watching, 14 thumbs up. Smash that subscribe for me, guys. One more moose and then 2 welcome bears. 26 watching, 18 thumbs up. Can we get to 20? 20 thumbs up. All you gotta do is tap that screen and then hit subscribe for me and see what happens. Make it happen, make it happen. Welcome back, welcome back. Vincent from South Africa. Wow, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. South Africa. Yeah, people aren't very talkative on here today.
Like pulling teeth. You're all doing well. Dothan. 38 watching, 43 watching, 43 watching, 22 thumbs up. We're chainsaw carving, getting ready to start a little bear that'll be able to hold a welcome sign. If you're here, you're hanging out, tap that screen, send some likes, hit subscribe, hit the bell, hit all so you miss future lives or uploads. A lot of videos on the channel. Getting back into the swing of carving live with you guys more often. That one's out. See how this one goes. I didn't sharpen. Oh, I didn't throw an edge on this other saw, but let's see if she's sharp. Probably not. We're gonna have to gas the other sump. That one is so dull. This one's a little better. What's going on? A few more weeks, we'll have some leaves changing around here.
A good one. Suzanne. What's going on, everybody?
Quick blackout, chunky face bear. I think this is spruce. Don't really like carving it. Don't really like carving it. Doesn't carve that nice. Compared to like white or yellow white pine. Carved up some moose, blocked out that bear. I'm gonna go get something to eat. YouTube's still punishing me, I guess. Very little viewership here on our live, but so be it. Michael, appreciate you being here. Suzanne, I think you're already gone. Anybody else stuck around? Appreciate you guys. We gotta go grab something to eat. Yeah. Hope you guys have an awesome day though, and I'll see you guys next time.